Hey, what's up, Logos Personal Finance students? It is Wednesday, July 8th, 2020, and it is day 70 overall of our e-learning thing. That's right. We have been 70 school days since we went into this quarantine, this COVID-19 stay-at-home lockdown, this e-learning experience. 70 days, that's a pretty momentous occasion. I'm surprised any of us made it this far. I'm happy that I made it this far, and I'm happy that you all have stuck with it and made it this far too. You know, we don't got that much far to go. We got, what, one more day this week after today, and then, or no, I'm sorry, 2 more days. We do have school on Friday. Thursday and Friday this week, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So, I mean, it's just a little over a week, and we're done with the school year. And that's pretty impressive that we've made it this far. Impressive that we made it to day 70. And for day 70, let's go ahead. What do you think? Should we try some Econ Lowdown? Yeah? Good idea. So let's go ahead and open up, as always, our Blackbaud page first. There's our there's my Blackbaud, Personal Finance Blackbaud page. Looks like that, right? We see it every day. We see the e-learning instructions every day, and just so that we don't miss it, I put it in big red letters. The note about tomorrow, that's right, tomorrow's Thursday. That means we have our class Zoom meeting, as it says, from 10 till 10:30. So 10 a.m., make sure you're up and logged in. Keep an eye out for the invite to the Zoom meeting, which I'll be sending out later today. And yeah, please be there for the Zoom meeting. And that's one way that you can improve your grade. You know, I mentioned, I think yesterday, that we have an edict from the principal, from the head of school, that anyone who has not done any work up till now, you can still pass. You can still earn credit for the term, even if you've been slacking off for the past month. All you gotta do is log in and get some work done over the next couple weeks, and that's it. So take advantage of that. If you have been working hard, getting it all done, good for you. You are passing. You should have a very nice grade in this class. And keep up the good work. Let's finish off strong. And again, it's going to benefit you in the long run to be doing all this hard work, because this is information that, you know, isn't just worthless information. This is beneficial to all of us. And we saw that yesterday as we log into Econ Lowdown. With this idea of banking, right? And how any responsible adult, and I've noticed this in answering this question about bank accounts, that a lot of you already have bank accounts, and that's great. So you're already well on your way to being a responsible adult. Having a bank account is part of being a responsible adult. So kudos to you who have a bank account. If you don't have a bank account yet, there's no reason not to, right? If you're under 18, you will need a parent or guardian to go with you to set up the bank account, but it doesn't cost you anything to set up a bank account, and you don't need any large amount of money to open a bank account. You can open a bank account with $1, right? And so there's really a lot of good reasons to have a bank account and no real good reason to not have a bank account. And that's what we learned yesterday. We learned in the video Q&A, banks and alternatives, that these alternatives to banks for people who don't have bank accounts, for people who are so-called unbanked, or in some cases they call them underbanked. There's two types of people, unbanked and underbanked. Unbanked are people who have no bank accounts. Underbanked are people who might have like a checking account or a savings account, but they don't have much money in it, and they have bad credit, and so they can't obtain a loan from a bank. The only places they can obtain loans from are places that were outlined in this banks and alternatives. And why is that a problem? Because of the interest rates that pawn shops and payday loan places charge. These places take advantage of people who have no place else they can go, right? I wouldn't go to those places, because if I need money, I go to the bank, get a loan. Go to the credit union, get a loan. Put money on my credit card, right? Underbanked or unbanked people don't have that option, and so they have to go to the pawn shop if they need emergency cash. They have to go to the payday lender if they need emergency cash. And so these people take advantage of them, and they charge them very, very high interest rates. And so that's why, again, get a bank account, start early, right? Start practicing, responsible personal finance, and protecting your credit, and you'll be all right. Now, what are some of the services that banks provide? That's the other question that was asked last week. And some of you had some really good answers. Someone talked about free coffee in the lobby. That's true, right? But more so than that, why are banks, they're a safe place to keep your money, right? They pay you interest on money that you have in your interest-bearing accounts. So you turn your money into more money. But it's also, they offer the convenience of debit cards, right? And we learned yesterday in the video about prepaid debit cards, which are also convenient and safe, just as convenient and safe as a debit card provided by your bank. The one difference is no fees, right? Or much lower fees compared to the prepaid cards. So that's what this lesson for today, Cards, Cars, and Currency Lesson 3. I think we did lesson 5 earlier in the term. You don't have to do them in order, no big deal. But this is all about the different services of bank accounts, right? And so let's take a look at this. Go ahead and launch this. This is one of those lessons. We haven't done one of these in probably a couple weeks or so. Remember, these are the ones where you have a pre-test, and then you have a lesson, and then you have a post-test. The pre-test and the post-test, exactly the same. You are graded. Your grade on this lesson is your best score out of either the pretest or the post-test. So if you do better on the pretest than you did on the post-test, then I take your pretest score. If you get 100% on the pretest, no need to take the post-test, right? So let's see. Pretest, Cards, Cars, and Currency, Lesson 3. Do you have a checking account? If so, you probably have a debit card. But do you know how and why you should keep records of your use? Debit cards are a great convenience, but can also be tricky if not used properly. By the end of this lesson, you will know all about debit cards and how to avoid unwanted charges and keep track of your money. Ah, yes. One thing that people often learn about the hard way when they open a new bank account and they're using it for a while, at some point, if you're not careful, you will run into these overdraft fees. You will learn the concept of overdrafting, or what used to be known as, when we used to write checks, bouncing a check. Don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and proceed to the next page, where we will find the pretest. How many questions are on this pretest? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's simple. That's easy enough, right? All right, so I'm going to get you started. Let's look at number 1. An advantage of using a debit card is that A, you can buy now and pay later. B, it is convenient to carry and use. C, you never have to pay more than $50 for unauthorized use. D, you can make purchases whether or not you have money in the account. Good question, right? So, there's a couple of answers here that don't apply to debit cards. They apply to credit cards. So credit cards and debit cards, they look very similar, and they work similarly. I mean, you swipe them or you insert the chip. They use the same machine right there at your retail store. What's the difference, right? Credit card is borrowing money, right? When you swipe that credit card to pay for your whatever, you are borrowing that money. That's money you don't have, and you're going to pay it back to the credit card company with interest, right? If you swipe a debit card, that's money that you do have. That's taking money directly out of your checking account. So if you don't have money in your checking account, that debit card's not going to work, right? And so that D is not correct for debit cards. A is not correct for debit cards. Correct for credit cards. And depending on circumstances, with either one, you might have to pay more than $50 for unauthorized use. You may. If you report your card lost or stolen within a certain amount of time, then you don't have to be responsible. But you're responsible for reporting it. If you don't report it, you wait a month and someone runs up hundreds of dollars, you may be responsible for more than just $50 in unauthorized use. Number 2, what is the number 1 cause of overdraft fees? A, use of credit cards. Well, I just mentioned, can't be that one because credit cards have nothing to do with banks. That's borrowing money. They have something to do with banks. They have nothing to do with bank accounts. B, use of checks without money in the account. C, use of credit cards without money in the account. D, use of debit ATM cards without money in the account. Well, again, we know that A and C can't be it. because credit cards aren't linked to your bank account. And so that leaves us down to B or D. What do you think is more regularly happen nowadays? Checks or debit ATM cards? D, right? Used to be checks, but nowadays people don't use checks as much. So the number one cause is D. All right, so I'm going to let you work on the rest of it. Go ahead and work through the pretest. If you like the score you got, great. If you don't, work through the lesson and take the post-test and see if you do better. And if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, have a good day. Peace.